My husband's mom nearly culled my child to prove my parenting was wrong, so I kicked her to the curb. A year later, she tried to get my daughter removed from school behind my back. I loved everything about my husband, other than his mother. The first time I met her was when she came up to me after our wedding reception. Her dress was an off-white sequined borderline ball gown. "You'll never know him as well as I do," was the first thing she said to me. I swear I thought she was pranking me, but that's when her eyes narrowed and she glared at me like I had just asked to borrow money or something. Well, I'm sure I'll get to know Zach in my own way. My tone was cheery, just trying to keep the mood up, but she didn't respond and just walked over to get ready to eat her meal. And I guess my husband noticed what was going on, because he came over and asked if I wanted to have her kicked out. I shook my head and insisted that we would get along eventually. You see, my parents had me when they were in their early 40s and had already died of old age, so I was stubborn that our future daughter should have a grandmother. I had no idea she was planning on unaliving our future daughter. A year later, our baby Nyla was born. We were lucky enough that my husband was able to fully support me while I became a stay-at-home mom and took care of her. We both loved her so much and would do anything to keep her safe. Fast forward 4 years later to Nyla's 4th birthday party. We were writing out the invitations with pink Crayola crayons together, and once we were done inviting her whole class, I asked her if there was anyone else she wanted to come. "Big mommy, big mommy, big mommy," she exclaimed with full excitement. I pinched the bridge of my nose, because by big mommy, she meant her grandmother, aka my mill. And up until this point, she hadn't talked to her other than through FaceTime. And I know what I said before about the whole grandparent thing, but I was extremely worried, because during many of our FaceTime calls, Nyla would beg me to give her peanut butter, and she's deathly allergic, so obviously I would say no. But my MIL would always chime in and say, "You're raising her to be too fragile. Give the girl what she wants." Her response always made Nyla think that I was being unreasonable, but I didn't want to be a bad mother, so I gave in and invited her. On the day my mother-in-law showed up with a homemade birthday cake, snacks, and cupcakes. At first I was touched. I really thought my MIL was trying to make amends. Boy, was I wrong. Because the second I let her in, I noticed that right there, hidden in the bag of snacks, was a share-size pack of Reese's cups. I gently maneuvered her back into the front garden. "What is in this birthday cake?" My tone was threatening. Just like, vanilla." I grabbed it from her and smelled it. Yep, it was peanut butter. "You can either leave all your BS in the car and come inside without it, or drive home." She tried to push past me, thinking I wasn't serious, but I shoved her away. Eventually, she retreated to her car and returned empty-handed. I would have told my husband about it, but the last thing I wanted was for the day to become about my mother-in-law instead of Nyla, so I settled for keeping a close eye on her while making sure she enjoyed the party. The rest of the party was pretty smooth sailing. Pink wrapping paper covered the floor, kids bought music playing, party hats, you know the drill. It wasn't until the end that my mother-in-law burned my entire life to the ground, because that's when Nyla started crying. TBH, at first I thought she just wanted attention, so I let all her friends hug her and ask if she was okay. But after just 30 seconds, she was coughing hard, like really hard. The skin turned red, and she was scratching at her throat. "Sarah, my name. What did you do?" My mother-in-law screamed like a banshee. I